Hi, my name is Troy Anderson. I'm the owner of Anderson Training Systems, the fitness coaching business located in Tempe, Arizona. What I'm going to share with you today is part of our kettlebell meltdown training systems, and this is actually day 2 of the complex and big iron burn sequence. We got, just like we've done with all the other drills, we've got our primary drill in the beginning, and then we've got our supportive drills that follow up after it. Our primary drill in this instance is, since it's a complex, as the title indicates, we're going to do a one-arm high pull, and then we're going to go ahead and move into a kettlebell snatch. The high pull, and the reason this complex is put together, is the high pull lends itself very well as a teaching tool into the snatch. So we're going to do a few more repetitions of the high pull and a few less repetitions of the snatch, because you're going to be a little more fatigued and it's a little more technical. So we're going to use the high pull as a reinforcement, strength development, conditioning tool, and we're going to use the snatch as developing your technical abilities so you can really hone that as you go through the process of learning how to do some of these more technical movements. So let's go ahead and take a look at this movement. So the high pull sequence is very similar to the swing. It's still a hip-driven movement from the behind, except we're guiding the kettlebell up and into us. Nice and close to the body. We don't want it to drift out away. It makes it very hard on us. And although we're guiding the bell into us, we're not pulling on the kettlebell with our arms. You'll see when I go into action here in just a second. What you want to do is drive from the hips. Obviously, just like the swing, when the kettlebell's out in front of you, when the kettlebell's up high, if it's going to come back to earth, you don't want it to drop and catch you out in front levered as such. You want to anticipate it, push your hips back, and bring back to the start position. So let's take a look at a couple repetitions of the high pull. I'm going to go here, and come down. Really concentrate on pushing back into the seat of your pants so you can prepare. Also change your center of gravity so you're not levered forward, and then to re-accelerate up. Obviously, it's a very fast drill. You're going to take some time and really try to hone this drill before getting into it. Again, let's take a look at what it looks like kind of from the front on series. High pull. The kettlebell, if you're doing a really good job of it, your arms shouldn't be getting tired on the high pull. You should be actually have a feeling of weightlessness as it reaches its top position. So we're going to do, that's going to be the first part of the movement for the complex. Next, we're going to go ahead and go into the snatch. Snatch is just basically what I call the high pull extended. So here we're going to go. Everything's very, very similar, except we're going to finish with a lockout overhead. So now you don't have to bring the bell back down in one smooth motion. I'm going to show you a couple alternate ways to bring it down. That's actually a little more demanding, a little more complex. What you can do is here, and you can bring the kettlebell back down into here. Here, back down into here. Irregardless, you always want to be guiding it close and into the body and really working on firing through the heels, like the leg straight, and squeeze the glutes. You really want to work on squeezing the glutes. It's going to give you the force that you need to get the bell high enough and to catch it there at the top. It's also going to help protect your lock-in and keep you from hyperextending. Last part about the hand at the top. What we're looking to do is be fluid as at the high pull, and as we get to that high point, we're going to punch through, and at the last instance, as the kettlebell is coming around towards the back of our wrist, we're going to tightly grip it. We don't want to grip real hard at the top, because what it's going to do is slow the kettlebell down, and it's going to fall in the back of our wrist. I'm going to try to show you a bad one, and I'm going to try to show you a good one. So this is what I'm going to attempt to do a bad one. That is not what we're looking for. That's when I've over-gripped the kettlebell at the top, and I've kind of punched through, but I've gripped it too hard, and it falls on the back of my wrist. The inverse would be the correct movement, which is going to be right at the top. At the last minute, I'm going to punch, nice firm grip. It's going to slow it down. It's going to lightly land on the back. So if you find yourself getting whacked consistently on the back of the arm, it's just that your sequencing is out of whack. You may want to go into your high pull and then practice the punch through. There's a punch through just at that last instant. You punch through to the ceiling. You don't want to punch out in front of you, because that Kettlebell obviously is being acted upon by gravity. You will pull your arm down and lever on your shoulder. Not good. Nice and straight up towards the ceiling, not in towards your head. So let's take a look maybe from behind real quickly before we move on to our next drills. Just at that last instant, you want to punch through. You don't want the shoulder forward or in towards the head, just nice and straight up away from the body. Our next drill is what I call modified hand walking. This is going to place a nice high demand on the whole body. I've got an 18-inch box here. And what we're going to do is going to start out in a push-up position, and we're actually going to walk ourselves back. We're going to try to form a 90-degree angle between our upper and lower body. It's really going to place a high demand on the flexibility and strength of your upper back and shoulder complex, as well as the dynamic flexibility of the hip and hamstring complex. So here's what it's going to look like. We're out in the push-up position. We're going to try to walk back as far as we can. Try to get vertical, try to keep everything pretty straight. Hold for a second. And walk out. Back again. Walk out. If you have difficulty with that kind of high box, the lower your box, the easier your difficulty. If you really have trouble with your dynamic flexibility, you can move into one of the what would be like very similar to a dive bomber position, which would be leaving your feet actually flat on the floor. By elevating your feet, it enhances the challenge on, like I said, your upper back and your shoulder complex, the strength and the dynamic mobility component, as well as your hips and hamstring. I'm going to give you a little bit different angle to this as such. So we're here, nice and solid, walking back. Try to make all the lines line up and back out. Should take usually about 3 or 4 steps with your hands.